everybody, it is Tracy from Launch Tech Made Easy. Now, I just got back from the trip of a lifetime. I was in Alaska for 15 days. You may have seen a few of my posts while we were away. And it was pretty amazing to me. Some of the things that we did were sort of expected for the Alaska experience, and some were complete surprises. But one of the things I was most surprised by was the fact that I could go all the way up there, 3,300 miles from where I am right now, and be reminded of one of the most basic business principles that I had kind of let slip a little bit and maybe had forgotten about. It all happened after we got off of our cruise. So we started out the trip. This was my parents' 50th anniversary. And so it was a big trip. It was my entire extended family. And we did a 7-day cruise first. But then we decided we kind of wanted to get out and do some off the beaten track types of things. And so we rented a private fishing lodge on the Kenai Peninsula, which is south of Anchorage, if I'm remembering that right. And we got there and this place was gorgeous. We each had our own bedroom and bathroom, and there was a commercial kitchen. We could fish right out the back. And the really, really cool thing about Alaska at this time of year is that it never gets totally dark. And so we would find ourselves sitting around out by the fire or on the patio visiting until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. Now, one night I was sitting out on the patio looking at the river. We were right on the Kenai River. And I was talking with the owner of the lodge. It's owned by a woman who grew up with her living at a fishing lodge that her parents owned in Alaska, but not in the same general area. And she really, really loved the life there. And she thought, this other lodge was up for sale and it was in a different area. But she thought that I've done this before. I could really run a lodge. That would be a very fun thing to do. So she bought the lodge in 2013. What she didn't realize was that the lodge she had grown up at, her father's lodge, catered to some pretty serious fishermen. And they were the kind of guys that would get up in the morning, you'd make them a big breakfast and pack them a lunch, and you wouldn't see them again because they'd be out fishing all day long. That lodge was in a different part of Alaska. So when she bought this new lodge, she was very surprised to find out that in the location where it was located, the people who rented from her weren't really all that serious about fishing. I mean, sure, they like to go out and catch a few fish. It is Alaska. But what they were more interested in was sightseeing and doing some of the touristy things. Now, as you might imagine, those two different audiences, serious fishermen versus families, well, they require some very, very different things in their accommodations. So she had to regroup after she started to see who was booking the rooms in her lodge and do things like change the decorating a little bit, add some childproofing, provide smaller fishing poles and little tiny life jackets for the kids. And she even found that she was doing quite a bit of tour guide referrals and fishing guide referrals because the people who were staying with her actually wanted to get out and see things. They didn't just want to be serious fishermen. This was a whole different ballgame for her. The other thing she realized was that even though both were lodges in Alaska, they attracted different kinds of people in other ways as well. Whereas where her original fishing lodge had been that she grew up on was pretty hardcore fishing, the one that she owns now attracts people for a lot of different reasons, including weddings. She had never anticipated that people would want to have a wedding at her lodge. So after talking to her for a while, and actually it didn't even come to me while we were there, or maybe I would have quick grabbed an interview with her. But what I learned from this conversation and reflecting upon it was that, in business, sometimes we really think we know what we're doing. Maybe we lost a lot of weight. Maybe you lost a lot of weight. And so you really want to teach other people how to do it. And so you figure that your experience is going to be the same as their experience. But in reality, you may be attracting people that aren't actually like you. And that's what she found out when she did this lodge, was that she was attracting people to her lodge and her business was great, but it wasn't the people that she thought she would be attracting. So that was the first thing I learned. The second thing I learned was that you can't be everything to everybody. So despite the fact that she was sure that she was going to attract fishermen, serious fishermen, to her new little spot in the woods, she found out that she was actually attracting families. And she couldn't really do both really well, so she decided to focus on the families. Now, she's also dabbling with some weddings and things like that, but she's quickly learning that that wedding crowd is a completely different audience than her family's crowd. And so she's sorting through that and trying to decide where does she want to focus her time and energy. Because she's realizing that trying to do both is really, really exhausting, especially because they usually back up upon each other. So, for example, we checked out on a Thursday, and on Friday she had a wedding coming in. Now, that's a completely different configuration than what we were there for. And so that's a lot of work for her and her staff. So here's how I'm applying these lessons to my business. Next week, I'm going to be relaunching my most popular course ever. It's called the Launch Tech Blueprint. And I think it's an amazing course. My former students loved it, and I've been getting a lot of requests lately to just put it out there again already. And so that's the plan. It will be relaunching next week. And it teaches online business owners just like you everything you need to know to get your business set up online. But here's the really cool part. We actually do the work together in the class. So when the class is over, everything's done. You are good to go. You are set up. You have an online business and you're ready to start selling. So that's really cool, right? But here's what I learned in Alaska. I can't assume that this course is covering everything that you want it to. I mean, sure, my last set of students thought it was phenomenal, but you're different, right? So maybe you want it to cover something a little bit different. I want to make it exactly what you're looking for. So here's the deal. I would love it if you would take 1 second and just below this video, click on the link. It's going to take you to a 1-question survey. 1 question, I promise. It won't take you very long. If you would fill out that 1-question survey for me, not only is it going to really help me out, but as a little reward, I'm going to put you into a drawing for $50 off the course when it releases next week. So that's what I learned in Alaska. I learned that you need to know your audience, you need to know what they want, and you can't be everything to everyone. Do you think that means I can write my trip off because I learned something about business while I was there? Probably not. So anyways, I don't want to take any more of your time, but I would like you to take just a moment and help me out if you could by clicking the link below and answering the question. Not only does it help me, but you get something cool in return. So that's it for this week. I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you again later. Bye-bye.